From Indonesia to Boston, we're all infected.
Yes, we are. Doesn't matter if you're in Indonesia or in America, brother. You're all infected.
And that is the title of the episode we are here to review today. Infected, Season 1, Episode 2 of The Last of Us. And did it do a good job? Did it live up to the premiere? A lot of credible rating sites have said it was better than the premiere. We're not sure if we agree with that. We will review it and then we'll give you our thoughts at the end of the video. But what I will say is it's a solid start from the show. And I think being on HBO makes a big difference because I think why The Last of Us looks so good is the visual effects and the backgrounds and the environment. And like, you just would not get this in Netflix shows.
You're in shock and awe when you're watching it.
But
it's breathtaking.
Do you not think they go for quality over quantity though?
Absolutely. Like the shots of the city are brilliant. When you see The Walking Dead, Rick riding in the horse, and it's just so CGI and it's so fake, and it just looks like a movie set. This actually looks like a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the network that you're on makes a huge difference as well. Like, I mean,
it does.
And the amount of money that's going into it. Like, and I don't know. For me, you know, you could have done a season 1 16 episode edition of this, but. You know, for me, you always pick quality over quantity. The more you do, the less, obviously, quality you have to put into it. Like, and it does water down the show. It does.
It does, and I think 9 episodes is the right call. I do think pacing may have been a wee bit off in this episode, but is it time to dive into the action?
It is. Speaking of action, though, we dive back into 2003. We're in Jakarta, Indonesia. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, but that's where we are. So
that's where we are.
Yep. Jakarta? Doesn't matter.
We're in Indonesia.
We're in Indonesia.
We're in Indonesia.
Right, well, you take it away.
Well, we're in Indonesia. There's an old woman at
a mycologist.
I was going to get to that, right? She is an old woman.
Well, she is, but at least she's not just some like random old. Then again, when you first see her, she could be.
That's what I think I was going for.
All right.
Right, she's eating her typical, Asian cuisine sort of meal, and 2 police officers, military, walk in. Oh, you jump in the car. Am I being arrested for a crime, sir? No, you're coming with me, big man. Big outbreak.
While we're talking about cuisine, can we just acknowledge that the cup of tea that she was drinking later in this scene did not look good?
No, it looked like, not the buddy the Ethiopians like, but it looked like a wee drink they'd be having, didn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I know all cultures are different. But for me, tea should be taken with milk and 2 sugars.
I wasn't sure it was taken about apple juice.
Piss.
I don't know.
Anyway, they address her name. She's like, yeah, that's me. And then they acknowledge that she is this mycologist or whatever. And then they take her to like a lab, and there's a prepared specimen that she looks at, and she concludes that it is
the big word known as Ophiocordyceps.
Ophiocordyceps.
That's the word.
I believe it was. And she's wondering why they prepare it this way. The man then informs her that it's from a human. She's a bit skeptical. Says it can't be from a human because this can't live in the body. And I think it's like kind of takes you back to the intro in the premiere, where the doctor like 40 years ago is saying that something like this can't live in the human body because of the temperature.
Yeah, but now that's why she's questioning it. But obviously now
temperatures have changed.
2003, the polar bears.
Climate change.
The polar bears have turned heel, and they're like, "Well, fuck you, humans, brother."
She then inspects some body, and she looks at the cut, and she cuts open like the bite on the ankle, and you see like oozed it like white pus and
fungi.
It was a cool scene, like, was pretty fucking
and then
sick,
when
like,
she goes into the tongue and it's all
she got like tweezers or whatever.
Juicy peeps, man.
And tweezers, and she like pulls out these like the fungi worm, and it does remind you of the strain. I'm not saying the game's like completely ripped off the strain, like, but these worms do look like the strain, like the parasitic like worms.
So how does this work then? Does it say those worms touch actual skin? Is that you humped, or does it need to be like?
No, I believe we need to penetrate you. Like, we need to like
But they can't penetrate you. Like in the strain, they could actually go into you.
Well, we never seen that, so.
Well, there we go. I mean, that's a wee question up for debate. That could be a wee theory, but yeah, she sort of freaks out, storms out. Then the military general's like asking her about advice on this. She's like, there is no vaccine.
Bomb the place.
There is no medicine. We're going Hiroshima.
And they went over how the woman initially got bit, then she bit some of her co-workers, and then they detained them for a few hours. Then after that, they followed the procedure to execute them. So, yeah, basically just setting the tone that once you get bit, within a few hours, you're probably going to, mutate, turn into infected.
I think it does highlight the danger of this, and because the fact that she's immediately resorted to you need to bomb the place within 30 seconds of conversation.
Yeah,
you wouldn't just pull that out of nowhere.
Yeah, I like that. Straight to the point. She's like, no hope. Just like the doctor said in the intro to the premiere, there's no cure for this. There's nothing you can do.
Exactly.
So she was like, yep, you know what, just bomb the place, I'm going to go home and see my family, and that's it. It's good night for us, it's good night for Indonesia.
They could say there's no cure for this. Of course the whole plot of this show is Ellie is immune, right? But did the doctors never think about what if someone is immune to it? Can they develop whatever, antibodies or a serum or something to help people that are
True, but you got to keep in mind, that original, the original intro in the premiere, that scene is from the 60s?
Aye.
And we're almost 60 years later.
Well, toys isn't free though.
Right, okay, right. I get what you're saying, but they didn't find, there wasn't a possibility of a cure. They didn't find anyone who was immune until 2023, which is 60 years later after he says there's no cure, so maybe...
Yeah, no, but...
A lot can change in 60 years.
Yeah, but surely, with most things, it's if someone is immune to something, then that helps the research and the development of something against it.
Well, maybe they didn't think anyone would be immune.
But then again... It's a sort of disease where, that's in your system. All that stuff. I don't see how a cure's ever gonna... It's not like The Walking Dead where the bite kills you. And then you turn. And this, that is in your system. How is a vaccine really gonna get all that fungi out your system?
Well, it's not... I don't think the fungi goes into it. If Ellie's system, because she's immune.
That's what I'm saying, though. But I'm saying, what about people that are bit, and then, if they develop a vaccine...
Maybe it kills them off the inside. I don't know, body temperature.
But then again, I totally understand.
But in my opinion, seeing any sort of zombie show or vampire, once you're infected, I don't think you can be uninfected. I don't think that's a cure.
Yeah, we see Resident Evil. Oh, T-virus, get the T-virus.
I mean, you can have a cold and you can take a lime sip and you can be feeling okay in a couple of hours. But I mean, if you've mutated into something, I don't see a way back for you. No matter what virus or antivirus.
The only way back for you in terms of all this
bullet to the head
stuff is not if you're still a human and you get it before you turn. I think if you've turned, there should be no coming back, no matter what.
I don't think anyone does come back. That's the thing. I mean,
that is the thing. But yeah, we go back to 2023.
So they're sleeping in an abandoned building. Ellie wakes up, turns around, and straight away she's got Joel pointing the gun at her, which I thought was kind of funny there. So looks like Joel has not taken his eyes off Ellie the entire night. Him and Tess are not really convinced that she's safe, especially Joel. Joel's a lot more reluctant to take on this mission. He keeps saying that he thinks he should turn back, that it's not worth it. But Tess tries to tell him, look, this is how they get the engine, this is how they get supplies, this is how they go and find Tommy.
So let's go find Tommy. But guess what? Ellie has to go to the toilet. So we're going to throw our wee magazine, Jeremy Kyle style. Boom! After Melon. Was it quite after Melon? No, she
no, it was...
No. She stole. But again... I understand why they're sceptical about our whole bite thing, but surely you can just tell by looking at it. They must have seen bites before, you know. Surely they must be thinking, well, there might be something up there.
Okay,
I know they probably don't want to fucking completely buy into the fact that vaccine on the way, brother. But again, do you not think they could be like, well, hold on here, look at it.
What do you mean, look at it?
It's different from other bites.
Well, of course it is. That's what she says to him at the end of the first episode. Look, this was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, but they're still not really buying it. They're not even open to the idea of it. They're kind of like, oh, well, yeah.
Well, I think they are, because if they weren't, they'd have just shot her when they found out.
No,
well, wouldn't you be sceptical if every single person that got bit died, and all of a sudden there was one person that didn't die? Would you just be like, oh well, they're telling the truth, they must be immune? Or would you think maybe they're going, maybe for some reason that they're turning slower?
Okay, well, it could be that. All right. Yeah, maybe I'm burying the wrong people here, but Boston.
Well, I hate going back to The Walking Dead, but if we do, don't people turn quicker than that? Some people turn straight away. Shane turned straight away. Amy turned the next. Do you know what I mean? Fucking, but 12 hours later.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the big man's wrong. But we're in Boston and Joel and we're on. We have to move. We're going to go the short way or the long way as we. But see, as the doors open, what a visual. That was great. I like that.
Yeah. Ellie wants to go the long way that won't get them killed. But I don't think she's really got a vote at this point.
Based on my detailed information.
Yeah, she kind of just gets ignored. There's some good dialogue between them. I feel like Tess is kind of like, at this moment, the peacemaker. But it's not even Tess doesn't really trust Ellie, or I wouldn't even say she likes Ellie, but she seems more, I don't know, she just seems more approachable than Joel.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that. And I think in this sort of world, like if you're on sort of mission like this, you kind of need everyone to be on the same page. I know, like you've kind of just been thrown her in the last episode, but completely being untrustworthy is going to affect you in the long term.
It is, but yeah, Ellie's captivated by like the whole scenes and the ruins, and I mean, and us too, because I mean, it was great visual effects. I mean, it legit looked like, it didn't look like green screen or anything like that. It looked like they were legit, in it.
Yeah. I mean, I've no problem with any of this, and like I think you will get some people that might complain about like how long this actual bit took as they went through the buildings and then they went down the staircase.
But no, I like that. I like looking at the visuals in the backgrounds and the environment. And
no, I liked it too. And then we get ducks. We have a frog playing the piano. It was the best of gear.
A frog jumping on the piano was pretty cool. They're making their way like across this like flooded hotel.
I can't swim.
But Joel's like, "What do you mean?" And then he just like walks, and it turns out it's not even waist high. It's probably about like knee high on Joel. So Ellie then gets to the check-in and she starts like imitating a guest. She's trying to check in, then she's like replying back to herself as like the the attendant, like the person that works there, the check-in staff, and Joel's like, "What a weird kid."
I thought that too, son.
Then she starts like pushing this, like I believe it was like a trolley that you would carry luggage in, and some like dead body just kind of falls out. Joel comes to the rescue, but I mean this thing was well dead. It was sort of skeleton.
It was decomposing in the water.
It was. Then they make their way to the water. They get upstairs and the path they would normally go through is like just being blocked off. It's like rubble and stuff's fell on top of it. The doors are locked, so they can't really make their way around. Tess says that she will try and, if Joel gives her a push-up, she will try, make her way through the rubble, crawl through, and see if she can open the door from the other side. Ellie wants to go instead, but Joel basically Tess tells her that, no, you're not going, because if anything happens to you, we don't get paid.
And also, if she goes, I mean, she could just run away. So it doesn't make any sense to let her go through.
Yeah, but nice try. I don't think she would run away, but why would she run it? Be on her own out there. It doesn't really make much sense. But
it doesn't, but I mean, I think she might not want to be with these people who's pointing guns at her constantly. Not being pally-pally.
They do. So Tess tries to make her way through while Joel and Ellie make small talk. Ellie plays with her knife. Joel says it's a nice knife. Then Ellie tries to ask questions about Joel and, where's he from? Where's Tess from? Are Tess and Joel together? But Joel's like, no more questions about me.
I'm from Texas. No more about me. And then there's a burial about Detroit being in Michigan. It's like, I went to school. Shitty school. In the QZ, the quarantine zone.
Well, actually, what happens is Joel tells her like where a certain place is, and she says, "I went to school." Then a couple of sentences later, she asks about the infection and how long it takes, and Joel's like, "I thought you went to school."
Exactly, but I think that would have been top priority in the quarantine school.
I learn of it. Well, it's not quarantine school. It's just probably a school where kids go. They need to learn.
Oh, the QC school. That's what I mean.
I know, but they probably teach other stuff. I don't think it's at a school where they just talk about, here, if you get bit, you're dead. Probably teach like maths and algebra and...
What's 5 plus 10? Infected, man. You're infected. We're all infected. But then Tess comes down, opens the door. You gotta take a look at this, guys. And then we go out into the balcony. Another great visual here. And then we just see them all on the... It was like a weird visual seeing them all on the floor, wasn't it?
Yep.
It's kind of like seeing... Like, it reminded me of the Strain when you see them, like, hibernating in the sewers.
That's what it did look like. Then Tess explains that the fungus grows underground and fibres can grow miles long. Thus, disturbing one patch of cordyceps could awaken, like, everyone within that, that mile radius where the fibres are growing. So essentially, like, if you step on a fibre, you could just alert every single infected that is connected from however long that fibre is. Fibre, you know, maybe could be 10 metres, or it could be like a mile. So
I see what they're going for here, but I think it's just digging themselves a hole. It's like, I mean, what happens any time like they fall on the ground? Could they not accidentally stamp on a bit, hit a bit?
well, it's not like every area will have this on it. Like, it's only certain areas. Like,
I know, but it wasn't in the game. They went for something different. It wasn't.
well, I think it's pretty cool. I don't remember anything like this being done before. It's kind of like a dinner bell
But it is,
for the infected.
it is pretty cool, but it adds like double jeopardy to going outside the walls.
True, but I don't think it's like every single patch of ground's going to have fibres growing on it. Do you know what I mean? I think it's only going to be like certain.
No, I'm not saying it is, but again, I mean, I wouldn't want to go outside.
Well, would you get in terms of the show? Would you give that a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Somewhere in the middle would be like the Triple H's about to turn it, and he's got stuck halfway. I'll get it halfway.
I think it's good as long as it's not overdone. If it's overdone, then how can you possibly survive?
Yeah, but
If the fibres are everywhere and you can't even make a step, you know, it's like.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this is never even mentioned again.
Alright, we'll see. We then decide that we can't go this way, so we have to go the other way.
We're in the museum.
Yeah.
The Museum of Boston. But the door is slightly ajar, so it's time to be quiet.
Before we talk about one thing we didn't mention is when they're going to have food, and Tess and Joel offer Ellie some food, and she's like, "No, it's not. It's alright. I packed my own." And she pulls out this big fucking chicken sandwich, and Tess and Joel are eating this weird
Jerky.
it reminded me of Smackles, pedigree Smackles.
I did.
Joel's like, you know, it's like this tough brown shit, and Joel's like, you know, snapping wee pieces off, and they're eating it, and then Ellie's sitting there eating a big chicken sandwich, and Tess says to Ellie, you know, where'd you get that from? And he's like, oh, Marlene packed it from me. Ellie then smugly goes, she told me she gets it from smugglers. Then Ellie looks at the shit those two are eating, and she went, I guess not you guys.
Aye, because these guys are no eating the chicken sandwiches.
No, did you know? I actually thought it was a really. I can't believe we didn't even mention that. I thought it was a really good.
It was,
bit,
but like, should she not have been like, do you want a bit, guys, since you're doing all the heavy lifting?
And the reason why I bring that up is because but wait, while we're back there, should not talk about the whole point where Joel and Tess basically get her to confess that she is immune, and that is why she's so important to Marlene. It's another thing we glossed over.
I kind of mentioned that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember.
I didn't gloss over it with a paintbrush. Like, I know you might have put the final emulsion on, but I didn't.
But see, hang about it, right? Let's be real. See from this is 20 years. How many times do you think over these 20 years they have heard this? Oh, there's a possibility of a cure. Probably hear it every bloody weekend.
That's what Joel said.
Yeah, it's because he seemed like he was like adamant that I heard this before. It's not going to work. So you probably have heard that a lot. So they're outside the museum. It's dark inside the museum. So Joel and Tess go into their backpacks. They pull out torches, and Ellie's like, "Oh shit." So I guess maybe she doesn't like the dark. Then Joel's like,
Marlene not packing torches?
Did you pack one of these, or is it only sandwiches you've got packed? I thought
That was a nice wee line there.
I thought that was pretty funny.
I think he would have took Robert the sandwich so he could have it himself. He can't eat torches.
No, you can't. No. But then again, torches can maybe keep you alive.
Well, that's exactly what they do, because we go into the museum with the door open, and then Ellie spots a body that's fresh.
And also, she says, I've got a free hand, insinuating that she wants a gun, and Joel just tells her congratulations. But earlier at the start of the episode, when they're initially leaving, she asks for a gun, and Joel and Tess at the same time both say absolutely not, and then Ellie says, oh great, I'll just throw fucking sandwiches at them.
Joel be catching them.
I mean, I thought that was another great line.
Yeah, I think Ellie had some decent lines.
So I remember you said earlier, like, not in the review, like there wasn't much great lines, but see when you look back, I think there are a lot of great lines.
But you couldn't think of them earlier.
I couldn't, no. You put me on the spot.
Seeing you have a big, massive Wikipedia page.
It does help, like,
it does.
Seeing you have a picture of The Rock and Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah,
not so much.
Imagine The Rock just appeared, rock bottom, clickers left, right and centre. You might need that though.
So they go into the museum, it's dark, they're making it up the stairwells, they come across this body, and it's like, it's been absolutely torn to bits, so...
But it didn't look too torn to bits, didn't it?
It didn't, but the way they were... They made it out as if it had been absolutely...
I will say that's a minus. Like, they were marking it like...
That's what... I've got to take it... I mean, that's something I didn't really like here. They spoke about this...
I've never seen something like that before.
I mean, it had a bunch of cuts and scratches on it. Like, I mean... I'd expect the whole thing to be like mutilated and like big chunks missing
Like,
out and
see
stuff.
when the clicker bite you in the game, is it not like graphic? Like it would absolutely molest you, so?
Yeah, but I mean that's the difference is. I mean that's because she got one bit and then managed to get away. Maybe this guy got bit several times and that's why he's more caught up and stuff.
Exactly, scratched.
But they all looked at this body as if it had absolutely been torn to pieces.
Yeah, like Dale's stomach hanging out or something.
And it didn't. Did it look a bit graphic? Yeah. Was it cut up? Yeah. But the way they were like making it seem, the body just didn't really match that, in my opinion. So, if that's one negative I would give it, I would say I would have liked to have seen this body a bit more torn up, or just.
But then again, is that because I think HBO can show graphic stuff?
Of course they can. I mean,
so I don't understand what this just seems weird.
Maybe they thought it was crap. Maybe we need to. Maybe if we look back, well,
no, I remember. I didn't mention it at the time, but I remember thinking like that's a bit weak.
That's what I thought as well when I was watched it.
Oh, well, there we go.
But Joel thinks it's clickers. Tess says maybe he got bit outside and crawled his way in. I mean, if you're in such bad shape, are you really going to be able to crawl your way in and die in a corner? I mean, how are you going to get away with it?
The way they reacted was as if it was like a saw trap and he'd get cut into four. like your wee man in Resident Evil 4 with the lasers. Oh, God. But no, I mean, you get off more worse if you had a brawl with a dog.
Yeah.
A chihuahua, for fuck's sake.
So Joel's telling Elliot, from now on, we're going to be silent, not quiet. Silent. No. So they make their way up the stairs. They
go into the building, and then the rubble falls down. They go through the door. It's kind of like the main room of the museum, I would call it.
Yeah. Ellie steps on like a bone or something, and it makes this like crunching noise, but nothing heals it. And she's like, "Oh shit, sorry." Then they get through the door where the rubble falls, and then they come into the main room. Yeah, and it's like there was like units and like I don't know desktops and stuff.
The room looked weirdly new. It didn't look like this is 20 years later. It kind of looked like we're 6 months in.
But then again, you know what? I mean, probably no one's really in there.
Apart from the two clickers are
then they come across clickers. They're trying to be quiet, but it doesn't really work. The clicker kind of it was working, but then the clicker fucking did this scream thing while Joe had his like torch, or was it Ellie had her torch shined on it, and I'd have probably freaked out at that moment.
Shot myself.
I'm not going to just stand there and pretend, hope it doesn't see me. So they run, they get split up. Joe jumps on Joe and he's like fending it off. Tess runs off with Ellie. Ellie and Tess then fall over. I don't know how that happened, but they fell. Well, I do know how it happened. You're running for your life, so I guess.
I think that's when Tess like twisted her ankle.
Yeah,
fell on top of Ellie, and then she crawled away.
Tess tells Ellie to run, and Ellie like crawls underneath a desk. Then we see Tess run away. Joel manages to get one of the clickers off him. He then runs into like a different section of the museum. And he breaks glass, I think, to try and get the attention of the clicker away from him. Since they don't use sight, they use like hearing. So I think by Joel breaking the glass and then he hangs behind the wall, the clicker basically stops focusing on Joel and looks at the glass. So it's pretty smart, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was pretty smart, and then but its plan essentially goes to shit anyway, though.
But I'm not sure if they have like bad eyesight or if they have no eyesight.
When you look at them, they don't look like they have any, in my opinion. I mean,
because their eyes have been replaced. But what you could probably argue is their hearing's so fucking great that they can hear the slightest movement.
But then again, if their hearing's so great, then why does it matter if he breaks a bit of glass over there? We hear him going. Then we reverse gear.
What?
I'm saying when he stepped away, if their hearing's that great, could they not differentiate between glass breaking and stone cold then a reverse? You get me?
I know, I think glass plate breaking sounds a bit more, it's like more sharp.
Point is, right, they went for stealth and they balled it on European Extreme.
Only Solid Snake can attempt stealth, so next time, Joel, just pick up your gun and start shooting. We then see Ellie and Joe meet up again together, and this time Joe steps on the glass. For fuck's sake, Joe, you're supposed to be the experienced one here. You're supposed to be the man.
I know, and he's breaking glass, stepping on it, man.
Breaking glass, stone cold. Should
hit it with a stunner. What a
so it jumps on Joel, but it kind of takes down both of them. Joel then kind of grabs it off Ellie and gets up and puts about 4 rounds in it, and then puts another couple of rounds in it, and then you kind of see the blood coming out it. Then another clicker obviously hears the gunshots, it runs after Joel, but Tess sneaks up from behind it and cracks it with like a fire axe or something like that, and this kind of momentarily, you know, stops it, but it's still alive, it's still swinging, and then Joel picks up his M4 or his rifle, whatever it is, and I know what I liked here, he fired 2 individual shots. See these people that want to waste a full fucking clip? Exactly. Especially in this world, you know what I mean? These bullets, you probably don't come by bullets. I know, it's not like they grow on trees.
No, this was well done.
It was 2 shots to the head, boom, boom. It wasn't like, you know, spraying a bunch of bullets.
I'd say this entire fight scene was well done. I mean, I think you could argue it was a bit clumsy for all 3 of them, but again, I liked it. I thought it was very good. I suppose
it is dark as well. I mean, it's hard to see if there's fucking glass.
I mean, probably the best option was to go in, not firing on all cylinders, but they went stealth and they bottled it.
So then they get out in the museum, they climb through a window. Joel tells Ellie to be careful. There's like, you know, they make across the way the buildings. They're like high up. They're elevated. Like, I don't know how much feet, but it's probably like what, they're on the top of a big massive building. He tells her it's pretty scary. Ellie's like, no, in there was scary. This is easy. It's just wood. She walks across.
She just fell. Broke her neck.
End of the series. I mean, yeah, I might be immune for getting bit, but you're not immune from falling 50 feet to your death, are you? Tess then has her ankle, a sore ankle, and you can just tell from this moment on, Tess's attitude completely changes.
Yeah, it's done. It's all over.
She's telling Joel, look, you know, just make sure she's okay. Joel's like complaining, and Tess like, look, just be glad we got a break for once. You know, Joel wants to go back, but Tess like, look, just look at the positives and go and check on her. I'll be fine. And she like ends up wrapping her leg up, and then Joel and Ellie's looking at the view, and Ellie's like, yeah, you can't deny the view here, and it's like, you can't, because I mean the whole environment looks great. In terms of visuals, like, I can't think of a show that's looked better than this.
Yeah, 10, like.
I mean, if you compare it to The Walking Dead, it's... Jesus Christ, man, it's not even close. Then they begin to make their way to the Capitol building. They get there, but there's, like, literally no one there. It's just a bunch of nothing. There's I think there's a couple of dead bodies, like, but I think it's like infected. There's blood, there's an empty truck, but there's no federal soldiers. Ellie sees blood leading inside the building, so they go into the Capitol building and they discover that everyone is dead.
Yes, everyone is dead, lying on the floor. Some infected, some not. Grenades, oil barrels, everything you want is in the Capitol building.
I think Ellie asks if the Federal soldiers... Ellie asks if the Federal soldiers killed the Fireflies, but Joel determines that they didn't, and that one of them got infected, and then it became a shootout between infected and non-infected. Look, I'd like to know how Joel just came to that conclusion instantly. Now, maybe if you've got 10 minutes to, like, you know, look over the scene and go, this could have happened. I think that's what happened.
And he's no detective, Joel.
Yeah, but he literally just looked and seen a bunch of dead bodies and he went, nope. Well, he looked at one and he seen that one was infected. Like, I mean, how did one infected kill that? I don't know. But anyway,
especially this stage, 20 years in, come on.
All the Fireflies are dead. Tess starts freaking out. She's like, oh, there's got to be a radio or a map. Then she tries to tell Ellie where they were taking her, but Ellie doesn't really know the place, and there's no sign, there's no destination. Tess is beginning to freak out. Joel's like, it's over, we gotta go back. And Tess is like, you know, basically says, no, fuck you, we can't go back. Joel wants to go home. Tess says, that's not my home.
Ellie wants a sandwich.
Well, no, I don't want a sandwich if I was eating the good chicken stuff. I wouldn't want any of what Tess and Joel's got.
No, beef turkey.
Definitely not. It looked awful, like, to be honest.
It did. No, I actually thought it was wood. I thought he was picking apart wood to put on the fire or something. And turns out he's actually eating it. It looked rubbery as hell. Looked like he was eating the end of a rubber on a pencil, for God's sake.
Yeah, but as soon as Tess remarks that this is our home now, Ellie comes to the realisation that she is infected, and it's like, this is the big reveal. Obviously, if you played the game, it's not a big reveal, but if you haven't played the game, then you're probably shocked that Tess, at this stage at the end of episode 2, is infected. Tess then shows off the bite and says, I guess our luck had to run out at some point. Joel's trying to process what's happening. I mean, he managed to process that a big fight just broke out between infected Fireflies and non-infected Fireflies, but he just sees Tess getting bit and his head's gone.
He's gone. His head's in the shed, so to speak, isn't it? He's done.
It is.
He's absolutely gone. She's freaking out.
Tess orders Ellie to take her bandages off and revealing the bite mark from earlier. So we didn't mention it, but Ellie also got bit from earlier again, like on the...
Well, at least out the three of us, it was me.
On the wrist, and she's like, yeah, you know, like, at least out the three of us, I'm the one that got bit. But it turns out both of them got bit. Good news for Ellie, she's immune and it won't really do anything to her. The bad news for Tess is she isn't immune, it will infect her and it will kill her, or it will turn her into an infected, which is as good as being dead anyway. So.
Exactly, so yeah, Tess is done here.
Tess compares the bites and is like, look at this. Well, actually, I think in the game she compares the first Ellie bite, but I think in this TV series she compared the one that was actually just happened like an hour, 2 hours ago.
That's what she's on about, yeah.
But in the game, I think she compares the one that she bit 3 months ago, or 3 weeks ago.
Aye, no, but in this she compares the one that was. But again, it was weird because like, look how healed it was in like what, an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, but then that's the point she's trying to make. She's like, look, this is healing up, Joel. This is real. This is real, damn it. You gotta get this girl to Bill and Frank. Now, in the game, there is no Bill and Frank. There's Bill and Frank's dead. But it appears...
Maybe Frank's dead, but they don't know he's dead.
Well, no, we actually see Frank in some trailers.
Oh, do we?
Which, in my opinion, it's just means Bill's character's not going to be anywhere near as good.
Like, his whole gimmick of Bill was it was just Bill.
Yeah, and...
Kill Bill.
And Frank was dead for a while, and Bill was on his own. He went pretty much insane because he turned his whole, like, town into a booby trap, and he hadn't seen any, like, civilization. But, I mean, based on, like, the fact that Frank's still alive... And
maybe Frank's alive and Bill's dead.
I guess we'll find out, but Tess instructs Joel to go and find Bill and Frank. In the game, this wasn't the plan. It was Joel going to take Ellie to the Fireflies. The only reason Joel decided to go to Bill's because he needed a car and he knew Bill would him a favour. But it appears they've changed it up for the TV series. So Tess tells Joel that if she meant anything to him, then he's got to do the right thing here. He's got to save whoever he can. And I guess it was alright. I kind of preferred the way they did it in the game though. Then one of the Fireflies wake up. Joel shoots him dead without hesitating. But
he touches the wee fungi.
There's the tendrils or the fungi, whatever's wrapped in his hands, and this means that the rest of the infected that we've seen earlier in the episode, they're all going to react to this. So they start running. Joel looks outside and he says, "Oh crap, they're going to be here."
It's like when a boomer vomits on you and Left 4 Dead.
Aye, just like just brings everyone else. So just attracts them all. Tess is like, you gotta get out of here. Grabs a weapon. She starts like knocking over oil cans and like spreading the oil all over the floor. Then she picks up a grenade. She gets like a bunch of grenades, and so she gets a bunch of grenades and like tosses them over the floor. And Joel grabs Ellie's arm, and she says she'll make sure the infected can't follow you. So Joel grabs Ellie, drags her to the state house. Ellie's like, "Get the fuck off me, fucker," or "Get the hell off me, fucker," whatever. And they leave.
We're not leaving her, man. We don't want to leave Tish.
You could argue the way this was done, it looked like Joel didn't really care about Tess, but I disagree with it. I think it was done in a way like
he didn't want to say goodbye.
Yeah, he couldn't really. I mean, he knew it was over. And he didn't really want to show emotion, and he was like, So yeah, I actually like the way they done this. It was kind of similar to the game where he just kind of accepts it.
I like the way they did it until they leave the building and then they burst in, and I think things just turned weird.
Yeah, so I've actually read a lot of negative stuff about this. So Joel and Ellie managed to escape. The infected run in. About half the infected run past Tess, and they just completely run past her. And then there's like it looks like a special infected.
But see, could you not argue, like, see the infected that actually ran past? Like, how are they not, like, hot on the heels of Joel and Ellie? But yet, when we see the outside of the building, like, none are outside.
Well, I guess they don't really know where Joel and Ellie's went. They only kind of know where that dead zombie is.
Fair enough, but back to the task at hand, son, there's a bigger problem here.
So this zombie turns around, notices Tess, walks over to Tess. Tess has got the lighter. She's trying to flick the lighter. The lighter's not working. The lighter's broke. It's not igniting. But there's a shitload of grenades, so I'm kind of wondering why don't you just
shoot a grenade
or pull a grenade.
Yeah,
She doesn't do that. She backs up against like this pillar. This like infected then just walks right up to her and starts kissing her and starts spreading like the parasite worm thingies into her mouth, and she's still flicking the lighter, and then eventually the lighter does light. Boom, the whole building explodes. Shows you Joel and Ellie outside the building. They look back and they see the blast, and it pretty much confirms that Tess is dead, but she's wiped out all of the infected that were following them, so they should be good to go. No, they should be. In the meantime, they should be safe because Tess is taking out all of the surrounding infected, and then we see Joel. He's got his gun pointed at the building. He's waiting on any sort of infected coming outside, but it doesn't happen. We do see some like burning. I think we see some falling at the building, but we don't see any approach Joel, and then he decides to put his rifle down, and
it's okay, we're safe.
He walks away and doesn't say anything to Ellie, and she looks at him and follows, and that is it. That is where the episode ends. So, yeah, you didn't like the ending of it. Neither did I, to be fair.
No, I didn't like about it. Right, there's just a lot of stuff. I thought it was just weird that it took so long for the lighter to actually go. I'm not saying lighters can't do that, right? But it almost felt forced at how long it was taking. It's like, hold on, see once they're in and you've tried it about 10 times, pick a fucking grenade up or something. And then the kissing, it was just weird.
Yeah, I don't know why the first like half of zombies ran past Tess. You could argue because she's bit and she's infected, but if that's the case, then why does the other one turn around and start kissing her?
Oh no, it was creepy, man. I wasn't a fan of that.
And I've seen a lot of people. I've seen there's like some reviews. Some guy for the Washington Post said it was non-consensual.
Oh, that's not my problem.
No fucking shit. It's non-consensual. It's a fucking zombies. What do you want? What do you want? An infected hair test? Do you mind if I fucking stick my infected mouth into your throat? Of course not. But yeah, no, it's like it's weird. But I don't know why people just can't say, "Oh, I didn't like that scene." I don't think that scene made sense. So, like, why do they always have to like turn it into something that's not?
But then there's other stuff
like making it as if it's like a Tess got raped or something. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, again, that's just diluted. Like, but anyway, but again, it's like, why do like all of them bite, but this special one was like, I'm going to kiss you? So like, do we see any? Are we going to see future ones where we're going to kiss more people? Or?
Is it cause she's infected?
I don't know. I don't really want to think about it, man. It creeped me out.
We'll do a separate video on this because I think that's definitely worth talking about. So we're not going to drag it on here. But what I will say is, reviews for this episode did really well. I think majority of people are preferring this over the premiere, and I can see why. To be honest, I definitely preferred this over the second half of the premiere. But I probably preferred the. There's a couple of things. I didn't like the ending. And just the scene where they found that body and they made it out to be absolutely destroyed and torn up. I didn't really like that either. But I thought it was a great episode. Not gonna lie, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I'll give it the same as the premiere.
I also feel like the pacing was a wee bit slightly off, but again, I still thought it was very good. And could it be because big Neil Druckmann was involved in this? It got weird directing it.
That could be like.
I mean, maybe Big Craig who read it. He's like, the infected comes up to her, and the lighter goes, and then he's like, but seeing I'm directing it, son, that's going to stick its fucking tentacles down her mouth, because I'm a wee nonce. I'm the man. I'm Neil. But I'll get an 8. I enjoyed it.
You get an 8, I'll get a 9. So basically the same ratings we gave the premiere. 8.5 out of 10.
Like I say, for the same reasons he's taking points off, I'm taking them off.
Now, if any of you guys follow Trev's channel too, Walking Dead reviewer.
What did he give it?
He gave it a 10.
Did he?
Yes.
Fanboy.
And I'm surprised he done that because he tries to downplay this show because he doesn't want to, accept it's better than The Walking Dead, but I mean, that's what it is. So we're giving it an 8.5, guys. Let us know what you thought down below. I think if they'd done a couple of things differently, I'm not sure, I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying, the two things that I didn't like, I'm not saying if they'd done them correctly I would have gave it a 10. I think they would have needed to do a little bit more than that to get a perfect episode, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I think 8.5 is fair.
Yeah, I'd say 8.5 is fair. I think when episodes have got, I wouldn't necessarily say they're glaring problems, but they're decent-sized problems.
Well, I'm kind of sad to see Tess go. She was grown on me this episode.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I wasn't convinced
I think they've killed her off too early.
I don't really like the pacing of the show. But I'm not going to criticise it and give it negative ratings because of that. But I would have just preferred. I honestly think the game you could have stretched into a 3 or 4 seasons.
And I do honestly feel like the second half of episode 1. I mean, I think you could almost label it as boring.
Yeah, not a lot happened.
But in this, if you incorporated this episode into the second half of episode 1, it'd been like, fuck, that was good.
Yeah. So, yeah, 8.5 for us. Shame to see Tess go. You know what? I got a feeling that's going to be the way. I think all the characters that are in the game, I think they're going to be getting you're looking at 1 or 2 episodes max.
Yeah, I think so. I just hope Bill doesn't get fucking kissed by and infect it.
Well, Bill's gay and he's getting more screen time in this series. He's in 4 episodes.
Is he?
How the fuck? I want to know how Bill can be in 4 episodes.
Taking it up the ass and every single one of them. Get your Bill Bud buddies today.
Guys, 8.5 out of 10. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section. We'll catch you in the next one. There'll be more Last of Us videos coming to the channel over the next week. Don't forget, Sons of Anarchy reviews will be up all week as well. If there's any more Mayans MC news, we'll keep you updated on that. And if there's, we'll probably have some more Sopranos videos as well. As well as some K-dramas. So lots of videos to worth check out on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've got the notifications ticked, and we will catch you next time. But until then, we're all infected. Peace.